The way we bring you the weather here at KTIV has come a very long way in the 70 years since the station signed on in 1954.
Well, tonight, First Alert's Chief Meteorologist Ron DeMars takes a look at some of the changes and some of the biggest changes throughout the years.
Well, the technology we used back in the 80s was really rudimentary compared to what you have now.
If you were in Siouxland in the 1980s, you probably remember the weatherman that I grew up watching.
Mike Wonkum.
But doing the weather then was very different than now in Boston, where he worked.
New Center 4 at 6.
I mean, you have to remember, when I was doing 1980s, we did 3-day forecasts.
The extended forecast has a slight chance of some thunderstorms in there.
Anything beyond 3 days we called Fantasyland. You just didn't forecast that.
Jane Sewell may be another name you've heard of from decades past. She did the weather at KTIV back in the 70s.
The winds were influenced by high pressure, which gave us the winds from a northerly direction.
They didn't consider weather that important at that time. Nowadays, it's much more important and much more valuable because of the data that you guys have.
But that data in the earlier days came a very different way than it does now.
You know, you have to remember, we didn't have internet, so you didn't get any information until you went to the station, and then you were able to start looking at the maps. And the maps were these paper maps that came out wet, you let them dry out, and then you could study the weather. And the detail that we had available to those was really, really limited at that time. We just didn't really have the detail available to us.
And most days included a phone call to National Weather Service meteorologists.
You would call the National Weather Service, and they were out at the airport at that time, and you would say, okay, what does the map look like today?
They could tell me when they thought a cold front would be through Norfolk or Wayne, Nebraska.
I would have this piece of cardboard with plastic over the top of it, and I would take a marker. They would say, okay, the cold front goes from Beacon Hill out to the Four Corners, and I would draw this map on a little piece of paper. And then I would take that, and I would go out in the studio, and I would paint it onto this big map.
It was a big United States map that was, what, 6 feet tall and 12 feet wide? I don't know. And then what they did was they designed little sunshines that I would that were magnetic and stuck to the metal.
That's right, magnets helped tell the weather story back then. These cold fronts, warm fronts, suns and clouds, well, they'd all go onto a magnetic weather map. Imagine going back in time. They probably thought that was pretty forward-thinking stuff, and it was. But times have changed.
What are some of the biggest changes?
Satellites, we would get maybe 1 or 2 a day. Now you're getting a satellite picture every 10 or 15 minutes coming in. And then I brought the first computers onto the air back in somewhere in the mid-1980s. And when we did that, that was just like a technological breakthrough. But we could only show 8 colors. That's all the computers would generate at that time. Now you can generate millions of colors with them. And of course, the thing everyone wanted to have was radar.
Using Doppler for radar.
KTIV. Channel 4 in Sioux City, Iowa, had a radar.
The first radar at Channel 4 was actually out of an old B-25 bomber from World War II.
Sadly, you just couldn't show it on TV.
And it had a big sign on it that said, do not use during severe weather.
And while weather technology has come a long ways in the past 70 years, Jane knows there's more to come in the world of TV weather, and we'll all be along for the ride.
You keep rolling and keep moving the Siouxland area ahead in this world.
Ron DeMars, KTIV News 4.
All right, to be fair, through all the years, Ron looks exactly the same. No doubt about it.
I agree.